In this video, we'll talk about how and why home prices could drop 20% in 2023, what has to happen to improve the situation, and how a price drop could affect the economy, you, and me. You've probably been hearing people scream the housing market's going to crash for a couple of years now. This warning of a crash is coming from some of the most respected economists in the country, like Peter Bachvar of Bleakley Financial and Ian Shepherdson of Pantheon Macroeconomics and Jeremy Siegel of Wharton School of Pennsylvania and Paul Krugman, a Nobel Prize-winning economist. All are forecasting a serious decline in home prices from 15 to 20% in the U.S. next year. These names may not mean much to you and me, but they do to the people who keep an eye on the economy. Because I'm in the business, I can tell you firsthand, the housing industry has come to a comparative standstill. When I read what they have to say, their logic makes sense. Think this through with me. It's really quite a story. Home prices jumped almost 95% between 2013 and the second quarter of 22. 40% of that growth took place between 2020 and 2022 because of cheap credit, COVID relief cash being dumped into the economy, a bad case of FOMO, fear of missing out. Then there was a remote work from home trend that simply changed the face of how and where people live their lives almost overnight. People fled the cities and flooded small towns and communities, blowing up home prices with uncommon demand. Before COVID, a chronically underbuilt housing market was destined to see demand outstrip supply if anything happened that disturbed the delicate balance that existed. COVID was the inciting event, and now, with inflation raging, the Fed, with a charter to maintain economic growth while keeping inflation in check, had to act and had to act forcefully. The bottom line is, if the Fed doesn't get this right, the housing market could crash and take the economy with it. The central bank has raised the Fed funds rate 3/4 of a point 4 times this year to cool the economy and tame inflation. And although not directly connected, home mortgage interest rates have positively skyrocketed. In recent years, rates have been at historic lows, so low some said it was like getting free money. Going from 3% to 7% in just a few months has simply killed the housing market. As expected, interest rates across the board have gone up dramatically. Credit cards, car loans, student loans, all of it. Some say housing represents 20% of the overall U.S. economy, and if home prices drop 15 to 20%, that would affect inflation, of course, economic growth, and the health of the U.S. economy. It's a curious mix of good and bad. For example, to cool inflation, the Fed is expecting more jobs to be lost. That's part of the chilling effect. Emotions can and do cause real problems in an economy, and the evidence is all around us. Buyers responded to the shortage of homes for sale by literally giving sellers whatever they wanted just to be able to get a house under contract. Buying sight unseen, far over asking price, with no contingency purchase, those were common. It was a literal feeding frenzy, and emotions forced prices to escalate even higher. Now, with prices falling fast, both buyers and sellers have pulled back, causing the lowest home sales in decades, quickly aging inventory, far fewer homes coming on the market, and repeated price drops on listings just to get them to sell. The dominant attitude now is, I need to wait and see how low prices will drop before I think about buying. The deeper this mentality takes root, fewer and fewer buyers will buy, and the faster and farther prices will have to drop. The experts are saying the hottest cities and towns that blew up during the rise will be the ones that experience the greatest collapse. Think Phoenix and Tampa and Austin. Until the Federal Reserve is satisfied that inflation is cooling off, rates will remain high. High interest means continuing low demand and growing supply, forcing prices down. It seems the process will go like this. Get inflation under control first, then interest rates come down second, then the housing market starts to recover, then the economy begins to rebound. The Fed is under a lot of pressure to get this right. If it doesn't, we're in for a world of hurt. When inflation goes down, people will have more money in their pocket. Prices on goods and services will normalize, and interest rates will drop and motivate buyers to buy and sellers to sell. But until that happy day comes, we could be in for a bumpy ride. I don't blame anyone for having a wait-and-see attitude. If it was me, I'd wait too. I find this really hard to say but I'm going to say it anyway. A correction in real estate is when prices drop year over year less than 10%. A crash in real estate is when prices drop more than 10% year over year. So how would you define the market we're headed into? If you like this video, tell a friend, give it a like to help me spread the word, and subscribe so you know when the next one drops. As always, I appreciate you and your time. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.